Hi, Future Coral here. So, here's the issue. When I was recording a significant chunk of my playthrough of the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, I was recording in OBS in this framing, which is just focused on my face. I don't have access to the game footage, so what you're about to see, just my face. You're going to only be able to see my face and not any of the game footage. I managed to salvage some parts where I'm watching things that are easily synced up, but other than that, my recommendation is if you love the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe and if you have played it, then you'll get a kick out of this episode. If you haven't, play it yourself or watch someone else's playthrough, then come back to this playthrough and see it then. So that's the only advice I can give, and I'm really sorry, but I don't have an alternative at this point. I just know that I hopefully won't make this mistake again. Thank you so much, and enjoy the ride. Hello, I'm Coral. Let's play some more Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. This will be exciting. I have a lot of stuff I want to try out. I reviewed some of my footage since last time, and I have some endings I want to get. Let's see, my phone says it's 429, but that's close enough to the magic number. Yep. It's mostly accurate. More sliders? That sounds like a way to get the Settings Master achievement. Next time. Alright, so that won't be this episode, but that's promising. Promising more content.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley...
Let's skip that. Let's...
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I'm going to be doing,
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting
narrator's
room,
interrupting
and Stanley
me.
knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
I'm gonna do the...
Yes, truly a room worth admiring, but eager to get back to
unplug
business,
the phone ending,
Stanley
both
took
with
the
and
first
without the
open door on
bucket.
his left.
Is my first order of business.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Oh wait, actually before that, I noticed from reviewing my footage last time that I completely missed this thing. Oops. So... this is something else entirely.
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path.
This is weird.
That it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun so far off the beaten path. You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights.
Okay.
How much
Call
more
me
exciting
out.
you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
Oh, is that all that's there? Okay.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting.
Well, now I want to do that with the
Stanley
bucket,
picked
of
up the
course.
bucket and smiled.
Sorry, I'm being
He'd
so
never be
spontaneous.
alone again. Not truly alone. Not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the
Having
meeting.
trouble. Like, keeping spontaneous
Stanley
is
had
something
felt
about
the
this
bucket
game. I
falling
don't
to
normally
him,
play
telling
games
him
like
that the
this. What?
Okay, this is day number 295. Take number... I don't even know. I've lost track.
This is something weird.
Nothing feels real anymore.
We're slowly zooming in.
The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down, it doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back.
This is something.
Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there?
Okay.
Caporata.
Oh, that lore that tied in with the, outside bucket ending. Those are nasty sounds. I don't know why I experienced that, but I'm very glad I did.
To put your work
Anyway, it just
aside,
occurs to me that because of the
let
bucket,
her
there are
back into
literally
your
twice
life.
as many
She's
endings.
been waiting.
Probably more because of all the new content, but like,
That's
yeah.
all, Stanley.
He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you
Something
make?
new, yeah.
Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
My goodness, is it 4:30?
Excellent.
Didn't give me
Making choices on
time?
a regular basis is the
Stupid.
best part to a...
I know there's no microphone connected, but I'm going to humor it. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver right there on the wall.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall. Behave exactly as Stanley
Something
would.
I noticed is that,
means choosing responsibly and always
something I
putting
fixed in
the
Deluxe
story
is that
first.
it is
I'm quite
the
sure you'll
subtitles
lead to the
cut
choice.
off at the same
Just
time
follow
as
my
the
lead
dialogue
and you'll be
does,
fine. All right.
which is a really nice
When Stanley
improvement.
came to a
Good choice.
The end.
I need you to walk through the door.
Stanley Pro Ultra Deluxe.
Can you hear me? Is everything all right?
Chris, Davey Reedon, William Pugh. I think it's pronounced Pugh. Kevin Brighting, Dominic Johan. That's the Twitter dude, isn't it?
Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do.
Cool. There's a lot of people working on this.
Forward, please.
It should have alarmed him, of course.
Interesting,
because
the bucket
buckets
only
can't talk.
speaks in
But Stanley
this
chose not to
side,
think about this
on this side,
obvious
through the
fact.
right door.
He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Well, was this 2 different heights in the original game? I have no way of knowing.
In here, said the bucket. Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone, said the bucket. Pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke.
It was you
Don't
doing
you
a
get
voice.
the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket. Ugh.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it, but there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting
Instructional
right
video
here.
on comedy?
Let's take a look. What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper.
Only the last one was a
If
yes
you
or no
ever told a
question.
joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the
Up
joke,
top.
start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief
C-O-R-A-L.
synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
No. I refuse to do that.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys.
Not done you with the funny.
Collecting hard
God,
data
that
from
was
your audience on how
terrible to
rapt
say.
they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let
Tripled
them
over.
stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all,
This is
with each of us needed on the
creepy.
front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence, and to very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme. Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it?
Something dated.
I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the 2 doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
I love it. It's kind of still the same as the original, but it's different in so many ways.
I can feel it. This time,
I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley. The bucket spoke. The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
I figured it would be something like that, given what...
Here we go.
Which ending it's a parallel to. Which great idea, by the way, to do the parallel endings. It sets some expectations, but also allows them to be subverted.
What? We're back at the phone already? No, what's going on? There was supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely
Is that light
off.
swinging more wildly?
I
don't know.
Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the 2 doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp.
Alright.
I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my...
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes.
Oh no.
Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so mental. I think I saw it playing guitar. No.
I love puns.
Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
This is a nice one.
To him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact.
And
Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
That's totally my fault. I sincerely apologize for missing that jump. I should have waited longer.
And Stanley decided that
I'm an impatient idiot.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
I wonder if there's more... Did I check for more dialogue in here? I can't even remember. I have bad memory with this game. Maybe my memory's just getting all muddled in with having played the previous one, the original.
Stanley reflected
Not the original, the original remake.
Together. First, walking through the door on the right, then walking to the lounge, then arriving.
I did hear this.
What a thrilling journey. No, never mind.
I did hear that, didn't I?
Was wrong.
I feel like I did.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting. And he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see? There's a sign
Oh.
right there. It says,
Was that
no
always there?
buckets past this point.
I will review my footage to
Stanley,
see if
how
that was
could you
always
think it
there
okay to
after
bring the
this.
bucket here? Yeah, unless... What if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior.
This will be
up to this
fun.
point, which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed.
I know everything in the universe either is or is not a bucket, so let's find out what's what.
Understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please step in here for a moment. Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is.
Oh god, there
or
are
is
multiple
not
options
a
here, aren't
bucket.
there?
Okay, let's
I'm gonna try to succeed first.
Item 1. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Oh.
Item 2. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket. To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Just don't elaborate, okay.
Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both.
What?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket.
Wait, if nothing
When
isn't
I
a
say
bucket...
nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket.
I
which, of
noticed
course,
that
is not
too.
true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a
That's
bucket?
just my
What isn't a
being
bucket?
honest
Mere moments
round.
ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go. What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll
I'm guessing there are probably
everything.
not
We'll
multiple
put back
options
all
there.
the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person. All right, here we go.
I've watched enough of other Let's Plays to know that taking the elevator up is a thing. I don't know what that ending is. I paused it, but I did see someone press the up
Come to
button.
a staircase,
And it
Stanley
did
walked
something,
upstairs
so-
to his boss's office.
I know that. And it's something I was wondering about in the first game, honestly, so I'm cool. It's cool that they added it. I think that it's something they added. If it is lit up.
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
Unless it doesn't.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated.
Is this a response to people
It's that
complaining you
keen
can't ride the
storytelling
elevator back up?
that you have. An incisive, rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising...
It totally is.
Wow.
It's people complaining that you can't press the up button
Bullshit
when
to
it
the edge of
exists.
my seat.
Can I go back down? Looks like I can go back down.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this? Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
God, it's so salty. I love it.
Oh my god. It's the boss's
Oh my
office.
god, that sound.
This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this.
Drinking bird with coffee, okay. This is ridiculous. Stanley Parable brand ridiculous. It says it right there on the screen.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No, wait. No, I need more time to process.
The whistling. I only have one headphone in because it's broken. That'll be fixed soonish. But it's still painful whistling.
All right, I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley. Of course, going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
You know I'm gonna do it again.
You know what? I've just
Yes.
thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow? There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation?
I mean, you are right.
of the
I don't know what
story,
what this has to do with the current
Why
situation,
aren't we
but you're
given
right.
time to imagine the surprises, to have to think and to anticipate, and then to marvel at the eventual reveal? This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years. And it's really all because of you. You're the one who
Cool.
took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know
Wow.
it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley, because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why, though I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the
Okay.
public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good, we're here.
Whoa, I'm getting chills. Maybe it's just cold in the room, but
Okay,
this is
the room
cool.
where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
An evening with world peace, baby. Stanley Parable Stanley, tonight live on stage.
Yes, here it is, just through this door.
The man, the process, the myth, the legend, the parable. What's for such a machine? Doing great. A conversation with Alexander the Great.
All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling, and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get 'em.
Your coworker. Oh, it's a little golf thingy. Cool. Also, it's a very distinctive shape, which I'm not going to talk about on purpose. An audience with the dude who came up with pizza. The Lord meet and greet. Does that say? Featured keynote speaker. Gotcha. Whoa, that's bright. Alright. Is that it? Alright, we are going down the elevator with the bucket.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
And then going back up with the bucket.
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
Well, of course, it's a bucket. The narrator's the only one that talks, and he isn't a bucket, so... just stands to show that buckets can't
Here we
talk.
are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator. Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
It probably doesn't need to do the loading, but I like that it does, just for cohesiveness. And just like...
No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing. Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears. And the whole time he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all, only silence. Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator. Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's?
I wonder if the bucket's a metaphor
Stanley
for...
to ruminate the whole way down the elevator.
I'm sure it's a metaphor for
There must be a
something.
way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be? Said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over.
3 again, 3
One
again.
opportunity to
Instead
share
of
a
getting down
true
again.
connection with a loved one.
I don't know, I would wonder which one is, like, more canon, if that's... It's an 8. I played the demo. I went to the mind control facility, and all I got was this lousy sticker. Narrator Airlines, Aloha from the Freedom ending. All lovely. And all the other stuff is the same. Saving on sets and whatnot.
There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference. There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit, only a silence
This is quite the
that
thing.
consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
Wow. Maybe the bucket's just like... I don't know. I'm not gonna
Stanley
give it a
had
try
never seen
yet.
the office this bright.
I love the choice to just redo every
Stepping
single line of
into his
dialogue.
manager's office,
Again.
Stanley was once again stunned. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His
I just-
own life
something-
in
there's something so
someone
fun
else's
about
control.
the
Never!
imagery of
He
screaming into a
squeezed the
bucket.
tighter.
Bucket Freedom ending? Epilogue, maybe? I know that there's
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness.
supposed to be an epilogue. And this is the real ending.
Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support. What? Wait.
What?
What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed?
Narrator's not breaking
Unbearable
characters. This is
silence filled the
interesting.
room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No, no, no. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Interesting.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
I'm going to,
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. This was not the correct way
get the
to the meeting
figgy
room,
that's
and Stanley knew it
by the red and
perfectly
blue
well.
doors.
Perhaps he wanted to
Next.
stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
I did most of the things I
And
wanted
here
to
it
do
was,
this
the
session.
lounge. But eager to get back to business, Stanley
Which is
took
good.
the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
It's so funny, even though I've heard
Stanley,
it so
I
many
think
times.
perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove
There
that
is.
I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
Figler and Marines. At this point, I'm beginning to think that it actually might not at all. Dialogue is the true collectible, and there's no reward for getting them all, but I feel nice. Wow, I would do anything for more dialogue. That's sad. Alright, that's it for that session. Thanks for sticking with me through that. That was really weird. I really enjoyed all the vent stuff, the new vent endings, and the new elevator endings. Those were both really cool, and I'm glad that they have both bucket alternatives and entirely new ones, and bucket alternatives of entirely new ones. It feels so consistent, and it's really beautiful. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye!